Okay, great. So let me just take a quick attendance here real quick. Karen Tirazabi is not here. Al is here. Nicholas is here. Jean is here. Aaron is not here. Aaron had sent me an email. She is actually now taking classes, which is great. But unfortunately, it conflicts with Tuesday, so she wants to still be a volunteer for while she's doing classes, but and stay connected to the community engagement. But she's not able to attend, so she kind of relinquished her post for a brief period of time. But hopefully, she'll be joining us once that is over. Give me 1 second here. Let me just make sure everyone is in. I just took attendance. Attendance and tired. Okay, so great. Okay, great. Just wanted to kind of quickly follow up. We have a new committee member. I don't know if she's going to be able to attend or not today. Pepper. Uh, she's lived in DC for a few years. She does a lot of different community engagement uh, nonprofit work out there already. And so we're very pleased to have her join. She may not be able to join this meeting. It was kind of a late addition where she applied online earlier this month, and then we got her all set up. So if she's not able to attend this week or this month, we'll get her all introduced at the December meeting. Let's give everyone just like 2 more minutes here real quick. And then as I mentioned in the email that I sent out today, um, some of our initiatives are, I don't want to call them getting tabled, but just a little bit delayed or just pushed back a little bit in terms of when they're going to actually come to fruition. And so I thought I'd take this meeting to kind of go through some of the back end stuff of our committee and trying to get some assignments and things just kind of knocked out November, December when things are a little bit holiday season related. And then we can kind of pick up things at the end of December or beginning of the new year with some of the larger initiatives that we had. Just a quick heads up with the farmers market, and I think everyone is aware of this. Um, we were graciously turned down by Fresh Farm, and we had also reached out. I know Zavi's working on this, reaching out to other outlets that came up in last month's meeting. But that is a little bit on the delayed in terms of what we want to and how we want to activate 14th and U for a new farmers market, or more realistically, it might be some sort of drop off place for a CSA or something that's a little bit scaled back for the next, short term while we get kind of our ducks in a row in terms of getting a new vendor or getting Fresh Farm in terms of doing like a modified or simplified or scaled down farmers market. The big reason why, and when we talked to Fresh Farm, Zavi set up a call, is that it's not necessarily the organization running the farmers market, it's the farmers themselves that are kind of strapped a little bit now. A lot of funding that they had relied on with USDA, with SNAP benefits have gone away. Some of those benefits are getting reassigned under different programs, or hopefully with SNAP and EBT, those are, hopefully there's going to be some reallocation of those dollars moving forward, so that those get funded a little bit more to where they were. But for the foreseeable future, a lot of the farmers are getting hit hard. And so for right now, they're just keeping kind of their nose to the ground and just keeping what they have right now in play. The best thing we can do, especially with the other Ward 1 and adjacent farmers markets, is to help promote those. So I think I'll get a list or have Karen from the office put a list together and see what we can do to promote those in the time being, so that the farmers who are doing farmers market in our ward or adjacent, close, or wherever we think our residents may need a farmers market or enjoy a farmers market, those are getting publicized right now. And I know Zavi is working on reaching out to Bloomingdale Farmers Market, and to, I think the other one was Common Goods Farmers Market, were some of the ones that she was also looking at. And then I know Karen, you had also mentioned one last time too over in the Northeast, and I think she has that on our list too. Any questions or anything on that?
Yeah, I just want to note real quick, just because this was brought up already this week. I want to note that December 22nd is 27th is the last time that the farmers market will be held at RFK. So you may want to reach out to that group because they'll be shutting down the lots in order for the new construction.
Oh, it will, Nicholas. It will actually be the last one for a while.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay, so the RFK Farmers Market. Give me one
yeah.
second. I'm
So
just gonna
their
write.
team is looking for more than likely will be looking for a new area.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Farmers Market. And then their last one is
Yeah.
December 27th.
Seven, yeah.
Okay.
And
That's
they're willing.
Saturday.
Nicholas, do you speak to them directly? Because I know it's an awesome and a huge farmers market. Have
We
you?
do. Yeah,
So,
it's
and that's
our
really
ANC,
cool.
so DDOT's ANC meets with them monthly. And so that's how we figured out the last date. That was the last date. So they, like I said, they're the farmers market portion, because it is two, it's a flea market and it's a farmers market, but the farmers market portion is looking for somewhere else. So just to FYI.
Now, what about the
That
flea market portion?
I don't, they have not spoke about the flea market, who's lead of the flea market has not spoke about what they're gonna do.
Okay, and who's the connection? The connect for the
Yeah, her
farmers
name
market.
is Tracy. She's on our calls all the time. It's Tracy Fleming.
Okay, okay. I think
okay.
that's a great because they have a great offering, and if they
Hmm.
don't have a space, they will pretty much take up the entire area that we have right there at that location. So that'll be a really good add on.
Yeah. And then either Karen or Nicholas, do you know what organization that's part of? Is it a part of Fresh
It's
Farm or is
multiple.
it?
It's multiple. It's hosted currently by NCC because it is on RFK's lot,
Oh,
but it's
gotcha.
multiple. But Tracy is the lead, so she can tell you what. Like I said, it's run by two different teams.
Okay, great. If you don't mind, after this call, if you could just send me an email with all that information. I don't want
Mhm.
to put her name and contact information in the
Yeah,
notes.
yeah.
But yeah, we definitely want to follow up. Actually, I'll just, forward that on to Zabi. And maybe Zabi can reach out to you, Nicholas and
Hmm.
Karen, and then have it like kind of a background call and then reach out to them.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Yeah.
Thank you,
That's
Nicholas.
that's That's awesome. I mean, not awesome that they're leaving. Oh, Pepper's on. Excellent. I'm going to go ahead and I apologize if you've been on there for a second. I was flipping between screens. Pepper is our latest addition to community engagement. I'm going to turn it over to Pepper real quick here, but very happy to have her on the team. And Pepper, if you just want to give a little bit of background of kind of your stay in DC and what you're looking forward to, and any fun facts about what you'd like to do with community engagement, that'd be great for the group. And everyone, welcome Pepper.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. Happy Taco Tuesday. So, my first name is Pepper. My last name is Reed. I have been in Ward 1, which I live off of 14th and W Street since 2012. I am so happy to be here. I am a proud mother of five amazing children. I have a 17-year-old daughter. Her name is Heaven, a 14-year-old daughter named Valencia, a 9-year-old son named Kevin, a 4-year-old daughter named Serenity, and a 3-year-old daughter named Destiny. For my professional life, I work at the United States Tax Court. I am a chamber administrator for the Honorable Judge Guider. I am also serving on multiple boards. I am the I'm on the board of directors for the Mary Center. I am the community engagement president for Mary Center. Also serve on DC Public Schools board and also IC's board. Also Children's Hospital board, and it's the one I'm missing, I'm sure. But I love being a part of the community. uh, Northwest DC, especially W Street, is has a special place in my heart. I love being a part of the community. Oh, I also am on the Mayor's Council 211. I'm actually one of the live street team members. So we do things in all communities, normally during the weekend. So, and I'm also on the Child and Family Services CFSA board. So I'm also a student at Howard University, but I'm also taking a class at Georgetown University because I just got a scholarship. So I'm very busy, love being a part of the community and love doing positive things and being beside like-minded individuals.
Well, Pepper, you already know I know you very well, so
Right.
like-minded individuals, and I'm always happy to see you. And happy Tuesday to you.
Likewise, like
Excellent. Well, Pepper, welcome aboard. We were just kind of getting going with some of the action items that we were kind of addressing over the last couple of months. The one with the farmers market, we're kind of going to pivot a little bit, or possibly, as Nicholas suggested, reach out to the RFK farmers market to see if we can convince them to come over to 14th and U, which would be a great addition to the community and would also allow them an opportunity to maintain their presence in the district, which would be amazing. Um, we'll definitely want to reach out to Zavi on that one. The next one that we had on here, and this is no particular order, was the African American Civil War Museum. I did not get a chance to reach out to the director. He was busy with the Veterans Day, the reading that was out in front, and a bunch of other events, to get an idea of when they think they may open or do their new grand opening. I know when I was speaking to other commissioners that they're still in the construction phase, the final construction phases, and then they also have to install the exhibits in there. And so I think the idea is sometime in the spring was the thought. But Miguel, who is the chair of one B, reached out to them, and I think we're going to try to coordinate a call or go over there one day to just get an idea of what we can do to support. But once we have a better idea of when the grand opening is, we'll definitely want to do something to help celebrate and support and be really excited for having that part of the neighborhood again in terms of the reopening of there. So. Karen Gull, do you have any information on your end? I know you're well connected with several folks over there. Do you know possibly when the grand opening might have gotten pushed back to, or is it still TBD?
It's still TBD, and I really, just to make sure that we can explore some celebratory things. I guess what I'll do is I'll do a reach out and ask if you want me to ask as well, if there is any particular things that they're looking for that falls under the guidelines for the ANC. You know, just I know that I was thinking more marketing items that would also allow the ANC 1B name to be put out there, um, such as helping them with banners, any type of promotional materials. Remember, we were interested in possibly helping them launch their reception, but
Correct.
we didn't hear anything back from them in time for that. But I'm looking forward to helping with that, and I'll do some outreach if you need me to.
That would be amazing. If you could reach out and see what we could do to support. I love the idea of marketing because just letting people know about it and be aware of it. Um, and then also I'm not quite sure with their banners that they're going to do with the Civil War to Civil Rights Walk, how they're funding that, but things that we can do to help support. Obviously the ANC is a little bit restricted in terms of how we can spend money, but ways that
Right.
we can support that would be great. And then for the event itself, what we can do to support. So if you don't mind taking the lead on that, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, because I'm sure that as with any of these nonprofits, everyone's always looking for sponsorship. But
Correct.
I do want the advertisement for the ANC to have some type of imprint on, on their banners and flyers and stuff like that to show that we're supportive of their efforts.
No, agreed. Um, no, that would be great. I'm just gonna write a quick note. Cross promotion with the grand reopening. Okay. And then yeah, and the other thing too is that everyone's aware of, every nonprofit out there from A to Z is impacted somehow with budget cuts or, loss of donations or grants this year. So whatever we can do to help support the ones in 1B would be great. So as Karen mentioned, sponsorships is going to be key in terms of getting some of the stuff funded. So if anyone can keep their ears and eyes open in terms of opportunities to help, whether it's the African American Civil War Museum or other ones that are in 1B or Ward One, or wherever, let's put our heads together and see how we can help out these great organizations that really truly support the community. The next one on the list, and again, no particular order, are the Duke District banners. I know just in talking about that, that's one that I think that Chair Miguel is leading up. And Karen, if you want to reach out to him and see how that's going, I think that's gotten pushed back quite a bit just with timing. And then I think the latest I've heard is probably springtime they want to roll that out. I think the main thing is to kind of get get a design out there and get a few of the banners out wherever it makes the most sense. Do kind of a celebration and then do some sort of fundraising or funding in terms of getting it with the local businesses and developers to get all the banners up and down, U Street and the adjacent streets is kind of what I've heard. But I know that they still want to do the banners sometime spring and then do some sort of celebration around it. Ribbon cutting or whatever would be the best way of doing it. We could have since a lot of the area was with music, do something that was music oriented. But probably want to reach out to Miguel to see how that's going on that end. And you had mentioned that you'd reached out earlier and you did not hear back, correct?
Well, I was just waiting for Miguel to sort of take some action on that. I did
Look,
not reach out to him specifically, but I did run into him and Brian this past weekend. So I'll talk to them.
okay. Yeah, because Brian Footer's also, I think his ANC, the 1E also has a few of the banners. I think the bulk of them is in 1B, but I think 1E also has some overlap with the Duke District as well.
And I think Nicholas and we had the discussion last time we were talking about whether or not it's going to we have the Thurgood Marshall building and other places that have they're going to have their not necessarily banners, they're going to have their street markers for their historical tour. And I didn't know if these banners would conflict with them or work well with them. I'm curious as to how that's going to interplay. We did do some public space conversations about this, so I really want to know exactly what the final renderings would look like because I have not seen them,
Okay.
and I want to know how it's going to work in regards to the streetscape. We saw a partial one for the ones that were already approved to be out on the street. But again,
Okay.
it's a lot of activities. I'll have a conversation with Miguel as mentioned. I know Nicholas wanted to be pulled into this conversation too. So just wanted to make sure that we are all on the same page.
That would be great. Nicholas, would you have time to work with Karen to get with kind of get the next steps on this?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, great. And I know Nicholas, you also have because with your DDOT, I keep calling it DDOT with your DDOT expertise. I think you had some good questions about the permitting and all that stuff. I think they're ways away from that, but if you can help assist in terms of what needs to get done, I know they will be forever grateful in terms of kind of the logistics and the permitting of getting that stuff, because it may be. I'm not quite sure who's on the committee, but I'm assuming that's something that is a skill set that they would really, an expertise they would really love to have.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay. Let me just kind of go through the notes real quick. The other parts that I just want to kind of highlight here real quick, and going back to block parties and the neighbor to neighbor porch events, or house events, that we talked about a couple times over the thing. I've been getting a little bit more versed in terms of the do's and don'ts of what ANC can fund and what they can't fund. And I don't know if there's any way the ANC can actually do this, but for the few limited block parties and events that we've kind of gotten requests from, it seems like there is always a need for coolers, speakers, kind of the water jugs, tables, chairs, and sometimes they're rented, sometimes they're borrowed from neighbors. There's also some requests for marketing material. The one area that ANC I know cannot fund is with food directly. But I was just wondering if maybe we want to, and I don't know if the ANC can actually do this or not, and where they would actually get stored. And I want to get everyone's opinion, but for some of the events that are out there, like tables and napkins and cups, does it make sense for over the holidays for us to put together like a budget of all the things that we would like to buy per se? And then that way we can kind of quote unquote lend it out to different neighborhood groups and say, here's tables, here's the cups, here's a template for marketing. So if you're doing a neighbor to neighbor event, it's kind of preset, and then the person just has to type in the date, the event, the time, the locations, all that stuff. So it's a little bit easier to host these. I was just thinking it might be, there might be a lot of communities and groups out there, neighbors and uh, neighborhoods that just want to do the events, but don't really have the capacity to like pull everything together in terms of procuring coolers and tables and chairs and also marketing materials, and then maybe just put together a checklist of saying, hey, here's like the 5 steps of doing something. And then that way it's a little bit easier for someone to kind of grab it, run it, and hold it and host it.
I just
Um, Go ahead, Karen.
Okay. Okay, one, if you pre-purchase things, you have to have a storage location for everything. That's number one. And we want to make sure that you if you're going to supply, if you're going to have that particular storage facility for ANC 1B tables and chairs and etc., or you have like that party the events and party planning rental locations, or you're going to do a Costco, Sam's Club, whatever, big purchase from those type of vendors and suppliers, I think that that would be great. But my main thing is I think one, we need to have that definite list from the ANC as to what we can do and what we cannot do, because that's
Correct.
always been a question, and I've been looking for that finite list, because everything is all kerfuddled in that document.
Yeah,
And it's
I spent kerfuddled is the right term. I spent the better part of a week reading
yes.
it, and then I still had to ask Matt, who is our ANC, to go to the office of the ANC for clarification, and I was told we couldn't do it, even though like it was unclear in the document if you could or not. So kerfuddled is the exact right word to describe.
But Mike, I have a question on this too. You utilize the term that, if people want to host it. Is this something where they're coming to you or either the ANC or committee saying, we want to do this neighborhood, maybe it's a progressive dinner or it's a block party, whatnot, and then we go through the process, or this is just a kind of like an event that somebody personally just says they want to throw? And I think there's also a difference between, is this something where it's happening more so in the street, or is this something happening inside their home? Like, what does that kind of look like?
No, there's two ways of doing it, and one is the more formal block party where you actually get a permit to close down
Yes.
the street,
Hmm.
and I don't want to say it's a larger event, but it's like a little bit more of a larger gathering. And so you'd have all the neighbors on the street and they're, kind of the surrounding neighbors and stuff like that. And it'd be more of a, you know, a little bit more of a festive party type thing that, larger crowd. And usually there's food. Usually there's, someone rents speakers or someone's in a band and they play. There's, some table set up. And it's a little bit more intense in terms of like the logistics. And you also have to go through permitting with DDOT through their online application. Nothing is complicated, but you do have to go through a process on it. The other one, and it's a little bit more. The other one is a simpler format of that, the neighbor to neighbor, where it would be the progressive dinner, or it would be you'd come. It could be something simple. Every household area would make a food item. They'd come from, around and people would go either from place to place, or it would kind of be a circular thing where people go from thing to thing. And as Karen mentioned a couple of times, is that it could be a theme behind it. But on both of those fronts, there are certain supplies that you could see it being a little bit easier for someone who wanted to do it, saying like, well, I wouldn't even know where to begin and say, here are the tables, here are the chairs, here is, a marketing flyer that you just need to fill out. Here's where you go to for printing. And it'd be kind of a simpler checklist so that we could communicate out and say like, hey, do you want to get together with your neighbors? Or, hey, does your community want to do a block party? And it'd be like, here are the different ways of doing it. And the thought is that, instead of renting tables and chairs and borrowing coolers and stuff like that, if we could just make it a little bit easier for the community to host these things and say, here's what's available to you. We need like 30 days notice if you're going to borrow it. Everything's on availability. So it's first come, first serve. And that, you kind of have it set up where people can borrow or get the materials. And then also marketing materials, some template marketing materials out there. I think you'd have a lot more interest in it. But at the same time, two things. One, no idea where you'd want to store this stuff, so we'd have to figure that out.
It's an
But two,
excellent idea, Mike. And guess what? There's like you can like there's like in Maine they have like this neighborhood library where you can go in just like you use it like a library. You borrow items that you only need for short term.
yeah,
However, the storage location is important, and people check it out, based on
yeah,
similar to a library card type system for the neighborhood. But this is why we have the PSA block captains or ANC people who would basically be the main facilitator to help you with these particular types of setups. And I think that having a cachet of all of the different items that you would need traditionally for each one of these types of festivals, block parties, neighbor to neighbor meetups would be excellent. I just want to make sure that we have a storage location, and then we also turn over the items, and for just from just general wear and tear, and just that's a really good um, sustainable community offering that should be done not just in this ANC but across all the ANCs if you want to keep community engagement going. So, where do you think we could start off with the storage and then also the how-to list on how to throw a beautiful block party festival slash neighbor to neighbor meetup? That's the guide that I was thinking that we should do too.
yeah, and I agree. I've not gotten to the guide, and that's something I want to put first draft on. I've done a few block parties for our community, and I want to just kind of put that guide together over the holidays. It's kind of on my list, and then Karen, kind of turn it over to you for the neighbor to neighbor. We can kind of collaborate together on that. There's a little bit of a different beast, but some of the things are the same, like in terms of marketing and stuff like that. The one area is I don't know if the ANC would be allowed to purchase items. We'd have to check with the office of the ANC first to make sure that was allowed. And then finding a rental space. I don't know if we could like team up with like a church or a community center or a rec center that is like kind of central in the 1B area and see if there's an area in there where, if we had things on racks and, bought a few shelves, we could store things, kind of compactly so we wouldn't take up a lot of space. And then the last piece would be kind of the check-in, check-out process of like, there would have to be someone assigned to it. Maybe, and I don't know if this would be possible or not, but maybe there's like a deposit or like we charge like $2 a chair or something ridiculously low that goes into a fund that goes for replacement. Or as things just get worn and torn, maybe it's just part of the ANC budget where, we need new tables every 5 years or something like that. I don't know what the right thing is, but kind of you would want a replacement of certain items over time because they would get dinged around, damaged, like, they're going from event to event. So, yeah, I think that would be my ideal thing. I know rental space or space in DC can be pricey, but I think there's probably enough community-based or faith-based organizations that would probably have a space that they could lend that they'd probably want to do something like that. Would be my gut.
Well, I think that would be a definitely when the ANC has their committee of the whole. I think that finding that location, having the ANCs sort of help put their heads together on that would be really excellent. But in regards to basically keeping something in the coffers for the ANC and the ANC being responsible for it overall, I think that that's an excellent idea. And this how-to guide, it would again be a great part of the information that is part of the archives for the that we can distribute throughout the so everybody knows what to do. It really will be a very helpful document for our community engagement committee.
And the thought, I agree too. It's going to take some time to get there, and obviously, as we get into it, we'll learn some lessons and like edit the documents as we get through it. But my feeling, and I want to kind of get the committee's opinion on this, but if we're able to, and I'm not sure if the ANC can or not, but if we're able to like secure, X number of items, and it's like call it like $3,000, instead of maybe that's the difference of like us, if we did $500 for 6 block parties, we'd be just kind of giving the money away to renting spaces and getting these items one off. But if we were able to just lend that out, instead of doing 6 block parties, we might be able to do like 12 or 20, more cost effectively. And also, I think from a standpoint of a person trying to run it for the first time, and we were working with an individual over at Seton Place, Amanda, and we had a few phone calls with her on our end, and we were saying, "Oh, here's where we got all this stuff. Here's where we got all this stuff," and it was very helpful. It was her first time doing it, and it was the first time they reinvigorated the block party over at Seton Street. But I think just having that how-to guide and maybe a list of supplies would be a big difference in terms of community saying yes, we're going to do it, and or not if there's too many barriers out there, if that makes sense.
It's awesome. It's truly
Um,
awesome.
I
Their
would love
block
to do it.
party
I
was
just
pretty nice too. I really think that and then the how to guide can be posted on the website, because that be a great way to circulate it.
uh,
But and also you can get testimonials from to show how the community is engaged overall. I think that that's really important for each one of the blocks that are having block parties in the under the commission, that we should get some feedback on how what worked and what didn't work as well.
agreed. I love the idea of having the testimonials and then getting like some sort of survey or feedback response of like, hey, how would you like what worked well, what didn't work well, or room for improvement? Because that's how you make things better. So I love those ideas. Um, the last thing that one more thing on the block party. It was kind of brought up before, and we can just kind of briefly discuss it today. Um, but with block parties and requests, um, we have there's no real like set limits, and I don't know if we want to kind of formalize like the ANC will support a block party at $500, or if we want to kind of table that until we get an idea of this party supply rental and how to guide, like if we want to come back to it. But I know that there was discussion at one point of saying like, hey, do we want to do a set amount, like you're communities eligible for $500 every 12 months, and then that way, people know that there's funds out there and we can kind of communicate that. Or maybe we wait until we get everything else nailed down and add that as part of the how-to guide. In terms of like if there's a dollar amount that we want to, that the ANC as a whole, we obviously can't make that decision, but if we make a recommendation to the ANC of saying like for block parties and neighbor to neighbor events, there's a standard $500 for this and a standard $300 for that. So, and here's the application process. And, you can apply like maybe per committee or per area, you can do it once a calendar year so that, you're spreading the love over the full ANC and you're not having one group do it like repeatedly.
Yes, and I think like we had a someone who came at us. They were interested in taking getting a grant for $5,000 for their block party, but and again that was really clearly understood that hey, imagine if all of the blocks, excuse me, all of the commissions put $5,000 down for a block party, but it was really more for one of the neighborhood organizations as
Correct.
opposed to the whole commission. I think we need to have an established budget, and then also make sure that it's realistic. Obviously, looking at the cost of the inflation costs, but we definitely want to make sure that when we do have people come to us for grants for different types of things, that we know realistically how much it was going to cost. Such as when we had the school, a school wanted to do something, and it was kind of a hefty cost, but unknowingly they didn't know that it was a big ask for the ANC, and we want to be able to spread the love, as you mentioned, around. But what I would like to see is we have the commissioners and each one of the for each one of the SMDs. I would like to see a checklist of which one of the commissioners are engaged with their community enough that they have had a block party. So the goal is for each one of the commissions to have a block, I mean, the SMDs to have a block party, and that's part of the neighborhood engagement. If we don't see any activity, then we should encourage them, strongly encourage them to do something within their block. So that's one of the things that I want to see the commission engage on.
Gotcha. So like we would kind of survey the commissioners for each of the SMDs and say, what are the current like are you currently know of any block parties or neighbor to neighbor events? And if not, we need to help support and like get that ramped up so that each the goal is to at least have a minimum of one community event like this within each SMD, if not multiple.
That right within each SMD to bring the cohesiveness of their neighborhoods, because the goal is to get the neighbors to know each other
Yeah,
within the commissions and within the AM the entire 1B commission. And if that's community engagement, and we should not, and I actually just put out a piece that it should be more than just seeing apartments and houses. We should know the people that lives in these apartments and houses. That's what being a
agreed.
neighbor is about. And that's the whole point of the neighbor to neighbor initiative, to make sure that we're getting to know each other, not just as seeing you on the way from the subway saying, and with your earphones in. You should engage with your neighbor and know what's going on with them. Not be in their business, but just at least know who your neighbor is. That's all.
Correct. Correct. I agree on that. The I'm going to table it for right now. We do have an application that came through for and I'm going to actually recuse myself because it's in my SMD, and it is for the Common Good Holiday Fest that they're putting on to help support low income families in the area for the holidays with toys and gifts. They do a normal coat drive and stuff like that. We'll come back to it in probably 10 minutes time. But it is a grant application that they reached out. They actually reached out, asked me because I'm the LaDroit Park president, and I said you should really apply for it. But I also was upfront and said, I need to remove myself from the discussions as well. But we'll come back to that one in a few minutes here. the last thing I had on here, I'm going to try to share the screen. This is where the conversation gets really fun, by the way. It's all with this. Give me one second. Share. Here we go. Let me know if you guys can see this or not. It is part of our standard operating procedures. Can everyone see the screen with the Word document on it?
Yes.
Okay. So on this one, if you go down to um, it is 2.3.8, excluding the chairperson or committee chairperson, no single member district may represent more than 30% of any committee. And so that means, that, you kind of go through it and you say, okay, if there's a total of 10, the maximum at any SMD is 3. And most committees will have to come up with an audit process. I don't know if we've ever done an audit process on this, but at some point we'll probably want to suggest to the ANC at large that there's some sort of auditing on it. And I don't know if Karen, who works in the office, actually does this on her own, or if it's up to each individual committee member or committee to do this, do their own audit. But we're in good shape. I'm imagining most committees are in good shape on this one. However, when you read up to just a few blocks in front of it at 2.3.4, it says membership of any committee shall be limited to a maximum of 15 people, including the chair. Minimum membership of a committee shall be 3, including the chairperson. Problem being, if you have a committee of 3, good, and you exclude the chairperson, each of those other individuals, whether they're with the same SMD or other SMDs, are actually a minimum of 50% of the total amount of the committee. I don't know if anyone double checked the math on this, but it doesn't get it kind of going through the mathematics. Until you have a committee of 5, do you actually say, okay, then we can actually apply the 30% rule that no member on there. And so my recommendation is to go back to the ANC and say, we need to update the standing operating procedures to say that a committee has to be a minimum of 5 members. So, and it doesn't mean that every member has to show up for every meeting, but in order for it to be actually where no SMD is greater than 30%, you need a minimum of 5 members because when you exclude the chair, each one of those members is going to be a quarter or 25%. So just wanted to throw it out there as it's a weird loophole or I guess circular reference or mathematical quirk in our standard operating procedures that we probably, if there's no objections, I would like to go back to Miguel and team and just suggest that we need to update that a committee has to be a 5 or more.
Can I ask, why are we discussing the standard operating procedures of the ANC in this committee, or is that something that you want the community engagement committee to be doing the legislative part of
So
the
the
infrastructure
only
of
reason
the
why
ANC?
no, I don't think we should do the legislative at whole. Part of the standard operating procedure. Great question, Karen. The reason why it came up is that when you read it in the community engagement, we're actually in charge of trying to promote and get community members into committees. So part of our mission is
Oh,
actually so that's why it came up.
oh,
So I would not be
that's
going through anything.
unusual, Mike. I mean, because no, and normally, each one of the committee chairs for each committee, it has a responsibility to have do the marketing for their committee, as well as the information is supposed to be posted on the ANC website, and then also the commissioners themselves have a responsibility for recruitment. I didn't know that the community engagement committee had that under their purview
Yeah.
specifically.
Let me just see if I can find it real quick. And I didn't know that either until I read this, by the way. So give me one second. I'm flipping through here real quick. So can everyone see? I just updated it to access signatures. Maybe I read that incorrectly. Okay. So on here, I'm just going to read it. It's 2.5.62. I might have misread it. The committee shall, this is our committee, the Community Engagement Committee, shall be principally responsible for assisting the executive committee in publicizing opportunities to join committees under section 2.3.2 and shall continue to publicize committee work and recruit committee members throughout the year in coordination with the committee chairpersons.
Yeah, that's what I just said. So it's I wouldn't you was about to put a lot of weight on your shoulders.
Okay,
Yeah.
then in that case, I'm not going to go forward on that. So I was reading the bylaws and just seeing that. So okay, I do not want to be part of the legislative branch of or legislative thing of the standard operating. So forget I just said that. Um, let's on that note, that was the only thing that I was finally reading the standard operating procedures. I just kind of skimmed through them originally, and then I also was reading the ANC rules, and I just noticed that weird quirk, and I didn't know if we want to bring it up or I'll just highlight to Miguel offline and just see if he wants to bring it up. Um, okay, so the last one here, let me see if I can get to my email real quick. Is to here we go, it's on my Gmail. It is for the common good and their grant application, and I have not seen it. So it'll be new for me too. Give me 1 second, everyone. And this is the last item for this. We do have a hard 7 o'clock stop. Um, there is the Commissioner Barrio's committee is meeting directly after this. They had to reschedule from last time.
I have a question. I have a question, Mike. Did we just bypass something? You said you were recusing yourself, and then you went to a whole nother subject about the community engagement recruitment, and I
Yep.
was like, I thought we were talking about someone who had applied for a grant.
That's what we're going back to now. I am
Oh,
good.
okay, okay.
Yeah, I am recusing myself. I'll answer questions because I know the organization, but one, I'm friends with them, and two, I told them that they should apply because they have actually applied in the past for the ANC grants. But at the same time, they're in our SMD, and I'm friends with them. So I'll answer any generic questions or general questions, but I'm not going to, you know, say I'm not going to give any personal, one way or the other because I want to keep it fair for everyone. Um, Let me just share this real quick. Give me 1 second, everyone. Okay, I probably have to. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry, I'm not the best Zoom person here.
You might want to stop sharing because I don't know if
That's
you
yeah.
sent
That's
your.
what. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then we'll just do a new share. Okay, great. So this is their grant. It is with the Common Good City Farm. As I mentioned before, they are doing their holiday fest. They do it annually. Um, it's a way that they get donations, and they actually purchase warm winter coats and games and toys to support families in need for the holidays and the winter season. They have applied in the past, from what I know, it was before my time. They have applied in the past and they got it. They were a little bit late to the game. They had some questions regarding food and what it could be applied to, but it's in general, from my understanding, and this is the first time I'm kind of looking at this, is that they are actually applying toward the event and for like marketing materials and for the things that you would normally have to host, like a event like this with like paper cups and plates and some other materials. So we'll just kind of go through it real quick. Can everyone see the screen where it says date of application 11/18?
Yes.
Did you
Okay.
email this to us as well already?
I
Or
did not. I can. Do you want me to email it now?
I think I always thought we look at this as a committee. You generally would email this. So if it's not, if it's impossible, I don't mind receiving it so I can look at it too, because your movement on the screen is kind of.
Nope. Give me one
I'm
second.
I'm always readjusting my screen just to see what you're doing. So that's just me personally. I don't know
Okay.
about the other committee members.
Give me 1 second, Karen. Everyone gets to see. Stop sharing. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for 1 second here. There we go.
And while you since we're at 6:55:53, do you want us to review this and give you the feedback by when? When is the deadline date for the feedback?
Well, that's a good question. I guess since we're running up to time, why don't I email this out to the committee and then give us feedback? The committee of the whole is next Monday. If people could give me feedback by Friday, by end of the week, would be good. There is no. This is the other thing that we need to clarify, I guess, on these applications. There is no like preset kind of rules around this. There was one or two that we did, maybe it was three that we reviewed as a committee. Otherwise, I know the ANC as a whole has actually reviewed a few on their own as a committee. My preference would be for us to review it first and give the recommendation to the ANC. I think that is kind of the cleaner way of going, and it kind of follows a line with what other committee member or other committees are doing. Um, but I'm open to
And
suggestions on this
and
too.
also, Mike, that's the way that this committee, we're the committee that does that. So I'm amazed that the ANC has done that, bypassing the committee. Um, that's the job of this committee to do that. But hey, everybody does what they want to do these days.
Well,
Um,
no. I don't think it was out of malice, right? I think the committee's pretty new, and I think people are trying to get their heads wrapped around the process of this. So I think it would be really good for us to say is like, hey, moving forward, this is the process. So there's
right.
no misunderstandings or missteps on it. I don't think
Well,
anyone did it out of like
I
to
understand. I understand everything was in flux. I would like to make a motion that, because we are going to consider this via email, I would like to make a motion that this committee review the what was the name of it?
common
Um,
good.
Common Good grant application via email, and have the results back to the committee chair by Friday, which is, I'm assuming, the 21st of November.
Correct. Okay.
That's my motion.
Yeah,
Friday,
by end
November
of
the
day.
21st.
Yep. Okay. Excellent. Anyone want to second that?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Thank you, Karen. I think I agree. I think along with the how to guide the budgets, rentals, if we can do it or not. I think a process of doing this would be great. And I think maybe what we do is kind of say have it in by this date. It gets emailed to the committees by this date. Gets voted on. Gets passed on to the ANC so that we have those internal kind of guidelines on our end. And I think that would be very helpful for both us and for anyone applying for it.
And it's helpful to have a tracking system to know
Yep.
where the process of this application is, so it doesn't get lost in the weeds. And also, we can see the committee feedback via email, and it can be for the record. That's the reason why I made that suggestion.
No, I like it a lot. I think that has a lot of merit to it. I like it a lot. Okay. Any other? I know we have to kind of kick off here in a second. Any other things? And you can always email me too. Any other things that you guys that is on anyone's mind or other business?
Yeah, so just for me, you said next at the next ANC meeting, we'll discuss what is actual to be able to be obtained or purchased by the ANC as far as like rentals or tables and chairs and things like that. We'll get clarity.
Yeah, I'll probably Nicholas go through Matt or Miguel, or kind of get looped up with the ANC, the office of the ANC legal, and that's where I'm getting more clarity from because I've had a few questions already. But something like that would have to go through, I would imagine, through the city agency in order to, get the thumbs up or thumbs down before we even discuss it much farther.
Okay, and then from there, I just want to throw out that I know for a fact that the True Reform building does have a huge basement for storage, so you might want to loop
Yeah.
them, talk to them about that. Um, and then third, I would just want to kind of mention like when it comes to those type of events happening, what is the ANC's involvement level in that? And I mean more so like what does that look like far as are we, is it promotion or is it just the application or are we actually involved when it comes to those, block parties and whatnot? So yeah.
I think those are excellent questions. I think from my perspective, um, the the ANC and our committee would be involved in terms of the how-to guide and whether we have it or we know of rental companies or resources that get tables, chairs, coolers, however that flushes out. We provide all those documents, and we also provide maybe templates for marketing and like maybe I know the ANC works with Minutemen Press. Maybe we get preferred pricing on it for marketing material production and stuff like that. But anything that would sell like that would have to be done by the block party committee, which would be the neighborhood or the neighbor to neighbor organization. But we can assist with questions and we'd always be resources to them. But I don't think we should be the ones like actually doing the marketing, stuff like that. However, there should be opportunities that we need to also get the ANC 1B name out there. So I think there's opportunities that we can include other ways to get our name out there. But it would the event itself would be predominantly with neighbors and community members that would be doing it on their own, but we'd be a supporting role.
Thank you. And the thing
You're
is,
welcome.
that was up.
Excellent. I apologize, Francois. Just Commissioner Barrio just emailed me, and so we have to end it there. But I want to thank everyone. These are a lot of great notes, and I'm glad we kind of went this way. And then we'll follow up with in our December meeting on some of the action items here.
Okay, good night.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Have a good week. Have a good week.
Good night,
Bye.
everyone.
Good night.
Good night.